If you've ever struggled capturing sparkling water in watercolor, it's likely you're missing that sweet spot of moisture and brush angle. Today, getting that sparkle will make or break the entire piece. The secret isn't painting every gleam. It's mastering 3 things that will make the paint and paper work for you. And if you accidentally flood the paper and lose that sparkle, don't scrap your painting. I'm also going to show a remedy that I discovered when my own dry brush fell flat that makes the water sparkle even more. Let's dive in. The first step that we want to do is we want to put in our masking fluid. This protects our sailboat from the paint. And I'm just going to pour in a little bit. I'm simply going to go in and start painting in the shape of the sails and the boat and a little bit of the wakes on the water, some of the splashes around the boat. So I'm going to paint in using the masking fluid, the hull of the boat, and then I have drawn in some little shapes that look like heads of people. We do want a fairly dark color because we'll use a dry brush technique, and when you have a dark color with dry brush against the white of the paper, you get a lot of contrast, and that's what helps give you your sparkle. It's time to add some yellow. Now I want to make some green that I'll drop into the water as I paint it. So I've made a fairly bluish green. It's not a bright green. I'm going to use a fairly large brush. I have a large area I'm going to work in. This is a size 14 round. Okay, now comes the challenging part, and that is the dry brush technique. Now the trick to dry loading your brush is to get the brush wet and then run it along the edge of your palette to get any excess paint out. My goal is to have less dry brush here and more dry brush on the right side. So heavier stroke here, which is kind of what I want. Now you can see I'm starting to get some of that dry brush. My brush is at about a 10-degree angle. And it does take a light touch. My brush is nearly horizontal. My color is thick and dark so I can get good contrast. I am going back up into this area because it's going to bleed a little bit and I may want to lift later. I do want the color between the sails to be on the dark side because that way they'll really pop in the finished painting. And what I can do is I can take, I've got a size 10 here. To get some of that green in there. I teach different brushstrokes you need in watercolor in my community, Painting with Peggy. For the link, please see the description. Next, we need to wash in our sky with cobalt and manganese blue. These soft blues are what will make our sail shadows really pop. All right, so I'm going to do a fairly simple sky. I'm going to use a wet and wet technique by first brushing on water, but not the entire sky, just in sections. We need the sparkling water to dry before we can remove the masking fluid, so this is a perfect time to paint the sky. I'm going to start with cobalt blue on the left side. Let's just see how dark that is. Not too dark. Drop that in. And one thing I like to do is I like to bring my blue up into a corner, and that helps define the painting. And another thing that I like to do is I like to, if I feel like an edge looks a little strange, I'll go in with a damp brush and touch that, and then I'll get what I think is a little bit more natural shape. And I also can tilt my paper around if I'm, trying to move the paint but not touch it with a brush. And this incidentally is, this is a Baohong watercolor block cold press. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of manganese blue hue. All right, so just a little bit on this side, and I'll use more on the right-hand side. So I've taken a damp brush to get that manganese blue hue to fade as it goes towards the horizon. And I want a little bit of color behind these sails. So if it's, a little dark, that's probably good. So I'm going to encourage that a little bit. And I'm also putting a little bit of the manganese blue hue into the cobalt blue I've already painted on the paper. I would like to add the distant land. I'm going to take a smaller brush and mix up a little bit of a gray color. That will be cobalt blue. And I'm going to use raw umber. And I am going to go from right to left because it's easier on my hand. Because the sky is wet, I'm going to get a little bit of bleeding, and that will suggest distant trees. I'm using a damp brush to blot out the trees that have grown too large or look like a tornado. If this happens to you and they dry before you can lift them, don't panic. These are non-staining colors. You can lift them with a damp brush even if they've dried. When you use masking fluid, you want to make sure your paper is 100% dry before you remove it. Don't race to this step. This is a good time to start working on the foliage. Again, I'm going to use my largest brush, and that will allow me to work quickly. So fully loading the brush and then just brushing it on, and not necessarily everywhere because we'll drop in some other colors. And I'm not necessarily going to clean my brush. I like to drop in other colors, like just dropping in the pure burnt sienna can be really pretty. Then you can use some Hansa yellow light to suggest some highlights from the sun. By tilting my paper, and now you can see I put the Hansa yellow light at the top of the foliage, and now it's running down. Okay, now I'm switching to a medium-sized brush. This is a size 10. I'm going to come in with some raw umber and cobalt blue. That'll serve as a dark gray. Working wet onto wet. And one of the other things that is happening is that even though I have the paper tilted, as the paint on the top of the foliage dries, the paint that I apply on the bottom is moving up because the paint's attracted to the drier area. You see how how the colors are blending by themselves on the paper. Now, remember that remedy I mentioned? Even if your dry brush looks great, this Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White is how we take the sparkle from good to blinding sunlight. I load the brush up pretty thick, and I like to tap with a pencil to get the finer droplets, although I could flick by just tapping it with my index finger. You'll get bigger blobs when you just load the brush. I'm going to take my rubber cement pickup and I'm going to remove the masking fluid. If you don't have one of these, you can use your fingers. Okay, and after I've removed the masking fluid, I always go over it with my finger to make sure that it's all been removed. Sometimes I can't see it, so I have to use my finger. And you want to be sure you always get all your masking fluid removed because over time it will sort of become one with the paper and turn yellow. This is just a light flat wash, and I'm using this number 4 Fuumuui. I could use my liner brush. Now that's a little darker than I wanted, so I'm going to go ahead and dilute that. And you can see the masking fluid left some jagged edges here. I don't think we'll be able to see those when we're done because we're going to put in the boom on the bottoms of these sails. Now this last sail here on the right, this is the jib. This has an edge of sunlight right along the right hand edge. And I'm going to try to keep that. Now I'm going to do a similar thing for the boat, starting with the bow and going from left to right. And probably I'll have to do this a couple of times to get the proper value. Okay, so I want to let those dry. They'll dry fairly quickly. And while they're drying, what I want to do is see how this masking fluid just looks sort of like a blobby, like almost like a worm, and try to soften those edges a little bit. Here's how we make those sails really pop. I'm using a more concentrated violet for the strong shadows on the sails. So it's just sort of a suggestion of people in a boat. And I'm going to drop in just a little bit of that violet I mixed up just to get some variation in the backlit people on the boat. So I'm going to do this first mast. Bring that down into the boat. And then I want that color to blend a little bit so it looks more unified. Okay, I need for those to dry. And I do think I'm going to paint in some of the water here so this front sail, the jib, shows up a little bit better. Now it's time to put in the finer details that act like the jewelry of the painting. We'll be painting the lines and other details on the boat. And then there's a line between the masts. And then lines that hold the sails in place. And then on top of this mast is a little flag or telltale. To finish the story, let's add a few birds backlit against that sunny sky. It's a tiny detail that adds so much life and scale to the scene. So whether you use dry brush or the happy accident spatter, you now have the tools to make your water sparkle. Now, capturing that sunlight is just the beginning of mastering a seascape. If you want the full real-time breakdown of this sailboat scene, including my exact color mixing ratios, come join us in my school community, Painting with Peggy. I have detailed video tutorials there that I don't share anywhere else. You can even upload your flooded washes or whatever problems you're experiencing in watercolor for my direct feedback. I'd love to help you save your next piece. Click the link in the description below.